Hey everybody, before I get started, I just want to mention a couple of ways that you can engage with me on a more personal level. I have a few avenues set up and I keep focusing on one, and I figured, why don't I make a short little video talking about all of them real quick before we get into these episodes. So first thing, Patreon. There's a link in the episode description and every episode description to the Patreon, as well as a video on the feed called Major Announcement that has all the details of what each tier offers and how much they cost. I implore you to check that out. I offer a lot of cool shit for my patrons. Second thing, the Discord channel. There's also a Discord link in the episode description and in every episode description. I have multiple channels set up there for each show that I'm covering, and it's a great way to just engage with me. I have a channel set up for MMA talk as well. I'm a big MMA fan, so if you're an MMA fan, you can check that out as well. There's a link to the Discord in the episode description. And then lastly, the Facebook and Twitter. Social media. Follow me on there. I post news on there. When I say news, I mean like, hey, I'm stopping covering this show. Hey, I'm starting covering this show. Let me know what you think about this. I do live watches of things on Facebook where like I'll check in and say, I'm watching so-and-so show. And then I'll like live comment while I'm watching it. And that'll be cool if maybe you watch that show too and you want to watch along with me, or you're watching it later and you will see my thoughts, which are usually pretty entertaining because I'm usually pretty high when I'm writing them. So check out all those links in each episode description, and let's talk about this episode. Peace.
One mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic. Yeah. All I need is one mic.
I'm going to start with the honorable mentions. There's a lot of those. I think I got like 28 shows listed in the honorable mentions, but really the honorable mentions are just, it's like stuff that I liked, but it wasn't good enough for the top 10. But it was like stuff that I would have felt bad if I talked about the best stuff that I watched in 2022 and I didn't mention this stuff at all. So a lot of this stuff, I'm just going to, a couple sentences here or there. I thought this about that. I thought this about it, whatever the case may be. And then the last 10 out of that group are going to be more or less ranked. So it's going to be like those 11 through 20 that is kind of ranked. Everything after that, other than that, is going to just kind of be here and there. Then I'll do the top 10. Then I will talk about the better episodes I saw this year. And then I'll close by talking about just a little bit about a specific network / streamer that I think has been doing really good work that I'm looking forward to in 2023. So talking about January real quick. So I just dropped a video for the first episode of Mayfair Witches. That's the next show in the AMC's Immortal Universe after Interview with the Vampire. I believe it premieres tomorrow, January 8th. I just dropped a video review of that. They put it up early on AMC Plus, so I checked that out. So I'm probably going to end up covering that week to week. I'm not sure. The problem is that January 15th really muddies things up. The Last of Us comes out that day. Mayor of Kingstown Season 2 comes out that day. I plan on covering both of those. I still got 1923 going on, so if I add Mayfair Witches to that, that's going to make Sundays really crazy. But there's going to be a lot of content coming out on the Patreon over the course of January. Fight Talk stuff, retro reviews. There's going to be on Avatar. I'm going to watch the first Avatar, see how I feel about it now, and then I'm going to go check out the new one, which I haven't seen yet. Mike's Musings, where I'm going to talk about all the stuff that I don't cover on the channel. One of those is going to come out in January. That's going to be a good one. So a whole lot of stuff coming out in January. A lot of it's on the Patreon, though. There'll be a review of The Last Kingdom Season 1, which was a Patreon request that I watched. So I'm going to have that coming out in January as well. So lots of good stuff there. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to add like graphics and shit afterwards. Like, I don't know if it's going to automatically just upload this into YouTube right after I'm done and I'm not going to be able to do anything, or if I'm going to be able to take this video, chop it up, add some graphics, do whatever I want, and then upload it into YouTube. I hope it's the latter option, especially since I've spent like the first 5 minutes fucking around, pouring drinks and wasting time. So, yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out, but let me check the chat real quick. Okay, let's see who all in here. Oh, Lily Clark just showed up. CC Chick Chic, I don't know. Aloha, so I guess you coming out of Hawaii. DVR podcast, I'm assuming that's Axel. What up, though? A second season of Mayor of Easttown is coming out. I hadn't heard about that. So, yeah, if that was one of those shows where Mayor of Easttown got me a lot of additional subscribers. Like, that one did some numbers for me. Dave on FX is the show that really set it off for me. But yeah, Yellow Jackets is another. So Mayor of Easttown is pretty close to my heart. If Mayor of Easttown has a second season coming out this year, that guaranteed that will be fully covered. Let's see. I didn't know a second season of Mayor of Easttown. Oh, no. Oh, okay. I thought you were telling me there was a season of Mayor of Easttown. No, okay. So Mayor of Easttown is the Kate Winslet show that had a great first season. Mayor of Kingstown is what I'm talking about. So 2 different shows. Mayor of Kingstown is on Paramount Plus, and that stars Jeremy Renner. Mayor of Easttown, Kate Winslet. Fisher Protocol. I think he meant Mayor of Kingstown. Oh, so I said Mayor of Easttown. Oh man, we are all over the place. But yes, those 2 titles are confusing. All right, so I'm gonna get into the honorable mentions now. I got them like on my screen, and as actually, so you guys know what I'm doing. When I'm looking over here, I'm looking at my notes. This is where my list is at, and I'm looking down. I have the YouTube feed on my podcast, so I can look down here and I can see the chat and I can reply to whatever you guys are saying. So I have my honorable mentions here in reverse order, so I got to scroll down to the bottom. All right, so the first honorable mention that I have, and it's not necessarily something that was an honorable mention in that I wanted to make sure it was included, but as I was kind of wrapping up this list, I want to talk about it briefly. And it's not really an honorable mention to me because I felt like the collective, I want to say 20 or so episodes, maybe like half were really good and half were not so great. But it was the seasons 3 and 4 of Atlanta. A lot of people love these seasons. I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to, like I said, there's only a couple of sentences here and there, but I didn't dislike the fact that Atlanta tried something different with these kind of like standalone episodes that didn't have the cast. I just didn't like the fact that they weren't good. Like, to me, they felt like, and I said this all through those seasons, it felt like they were rehashing old Twitter topics. And I'm like, this is not timely. It's not creative. It's not really that funny. Like, every now and then they would hit, but for the most part, those episodes just fell flat for me. And I appreciated that they tried something different. But since those episodes didn't land for me, neither one of those seasons really hit for me. But I did want to say that I thought Atlanta did a phenomenal job closing out the show. That they nailed it with the finale, for sure. I thought the finale was great. I loved it. I loved a couple episodes in season 4. So, yeah, I just wanted to say that about Atlanta real quick. Another honorable mention was The English. I binge watched that on Amazon Prime. It was kind of like, so it was kind of like a Western show, but it had kind of like a Tarantino kind of vibe to it. The only thing that I would kind of say isn't quite Tarantino is I love Tarantino for like really snappy dialogue, and I felt like this show was aspiring for Tarantino caliber dialogue and wasn't quite getting there. There were some like weird like edits in here and there where they were very confusing. It felt very I don't want to say sloppy because it felt purposeful, but it felt kind of like intentionally neglectful. Like, we're just gonna do this to fuck with people. Like, it didn't feel like it was like a mistake. It felt like it was an intentional mistake. Like, they wanted me to be like, what the fuck just happened here? But it was a weird show. It looked amazing. Emily Blunt is great. I love her. But yeah, that show was really good. I probably, if I had time to sit with it and it watched it, you know, as a, you know, week to week, or took some more time with it, had time to think about it rather than binging it like this, it probably would have been higher up. But I didn't want to do a recency bias and be like, yeah, I just watched it last week and now it's number 8. Like, you got to really do something crazy for that to happen. So next, Interview with the Vampire. Same kind of thing with that. Like, I feel like Interview with the Vampire would be higher up if I hadn't just watched it, but I didn't want to, again, recency bias it and just shoot it up really high when, you know, I just didn't have time to think about it and sit with it. But Interview with the Vampire I thought was great. I really enjoyed the look of it a lot. Like, I felt like it had a great authenticity to it. If you, actually, no, I didn't talk about it on the One Mic Facebook page, but when I talked about Pachinko, it turns out that I went to high school with the production designer on Pachinko, and she also did the production design on Interview with the Vampire, which I discovered while watching the credits. And, you know, I want to say this to her at some point, but, you know, a production designer is that kind of job where if you're doing it well, it doesn't get noticed. It's like when you fuck it up, that's where people are like, hey, wait a minute, the production design's kind of shitty on this. But she's so good that was 2 instances this year where I watched something. I was like, I love the sets here. I love the design of it. The clothing, the look, like everything felt so authentic. And with Pachinko as well, that's the 2 instances. And for both of those to stick out to me, and then to find out they were both done by her, I think she now has kind of like a feel, a brand that's really remarkable. And I found that show to be really compelling. I thought it was really well acted, really entertaining. Looking forward to the season 2. So That would probably have been higher as well. Another one that's recent that would have been higher, Fleischman in Trouble. Fleischman is in Trouble. You guys who, some of you were probably watching me cover that over the course of the last 8 weeks. I thought it was a really good commentary on relationships and what that can be like to go through something damaging and have to recover from it, but then also the two different sides of a story. You know, I've always told people that I feel like, you know, when somebody gives you their side of a story, they're going to give you a version of it that paints them in the best light. They're not going to tell you the version where it's like, yeah, I was shitty and I fucked up and I did all these terrible things. Like, you need to hear both sides. And I think that show did a great job of showing us that, you know, a lack of communication between two people can lead to a lack of understanding that can make it so that you don't really respond to things the way you should. You don't really see things for what they are, and then you see things your way, they see things their way, and it just gets messy. And I thought it was a really interesting look at relationships and how to handle that kind of damage and fallout, all that sort of stuff. The Captain. So I haven't seen this on anybody's list, and this isn't like a for real kind of like, oh, this is like an amazing television show, but I put it in here. So The Captain was I want to say like a 7 or 8 week documentary series about Derek Jeter. And I don't even like the Yankees, but like it became a ritual of mine on whatever day it came out, Thursday or Friday, and became part of my ritual to like watch that with all these other things. And it was cool reliving that time. And I think I put it more on this list just because I want to shout it out, just because I have like close emotions to the experience of watching it, like going back to that time and remembering all these things and finding out all this new insight. And it was just a joy every week, I'll call it Friday, to watch that and relive that time. And yeah, so I put The Captain in here. It's on ESPN Plus if you're interested. But I put it on here just because I just really enjoyed the experience. Another one is The Real World New Orleans Homecoming. I put that on here too. Similar reason. I need some water. Pistons Cup. I enjoyed the experience, but I thought the homecoming concept was really cool in that they made the cast, who is now 20 years older. Let's say they were probably about my age, 40 to 45, something like that. They were on the show when they were 20 to 25. And they showed them like these old clips of what they were acting like when they were 20 to 25. And now they kind of got to revisit, you know, like some things that were really problematic, racist stuff, homophobic stuff, like the way they treated each other as it pertains to their sexuality or their race. And now they look at those things 25 years later, and they're like having these real deep conversations about like what they've dealt with in the time since and how that damaged them, what it was like being in that position at that age. Like, I thought they made these people go through really interesting, not go through, but they made them put them in the position to have really interesting and deep conversations. And I thought that to me made that show a lot more interesting than your standard kind of like, hey, we're just throwing them in the house again and seeing what the fuck happens. It was like, it was like an adult version of that. They really challenged them and made them have tough conversations about the shitty things that they said and did to each other. And I thought it was really fun to watch. She-Hulk. She-Hulk was another kind of like guilty pleasure. Like, I thought it was like stupid at first. Like the first episode, I'm like, I don't know about this. But when you accept it for what it is, which is kind of like a law comedy, like procedural, like every week there's some new story that She-Hulk has to deal with. There's also a through line kind of plot, but I guess if you kind of look at it as kind of like just a law comedy, it works. Like, it's funny. The storyline is interesting. I thought they found really creative things that I've forgotten the name of the girl, Madison. I don't know, I forgot her name. But the Madison girl that they introduced to one of those episodes was really funny. Like, I don't know, I thought it was a really enjoyable show. It's one of those things, like, you can't go into it thinking, like, you're going to get fucking, like, Falcon and Winter Soldier or some shit. Like, it's not super serious. It's meant to be a comedy. It's meant to be lighthearted. It's not meant to be some serious thing. So if you look at it that way and take and expect that from it, and you're cool with just, like, fucking laughs and shit, you'll enjoy it, I think. Where am I? Oh, Rick and Morty season 6. I thought Rick and Morty season 6 was probably the strongest season of Rick and Morty in quite some time. Really, really entertaining season. Just every episode was funny as fuck. They had some really creative ones, like one where I think it was called Night Family or something like that, where they had a different version of them that had a life when they were sleeping. Like, they'd wake up while they were sleeping. They had different different lives when they were sleeping. They started communicating with the night version of them. Like really creative stuff, really funny. They dispensed a little bit with like these episodes that kind of feel like one-offs where you're just kind of like just watching it and it's fun in that moment. You're like some weird, hokey, wacky thing, and then you're on to the next one and it's something different. Like they kind of not dispense with it, but they cut back on that to kind of give more of a season-long plot arc. And I think this show works when it kind of has like a canon and a continuity where it's like, oh, they're calling back the stuff from season 2, things like that. I think the show works a little bit better like that. And I thought this season did a great job of making the show more like that, but it was also just really funny and really creative. The Time Traveler's Wife. I enjoyed that one as well. Another kind of like guilty pleasure. It was one that I would just sit back with my wife and we would just see like what the fuck happens with these people this week. But I thought it was a creative version of time travel. Like we have like you have Back to the Future version rules, you have Terminator rules, like you have all the different rules of time travel. This show had a new version I hadn't seen before, and I liked the situations that it put Theo James' character in. It starred Theo James and Rose Leslie. Rose Leslie was what was her name? Ygritte on Game of Thrones. Yeah, I just thought it was entertaining. Like, it wasn't something where I'm like, oh, this is the best thing I've seen all year. But, like, I enjoyed watching it. I enjoyed seeing where their story was going. Theo James had a really good year, man. Like, not gonna lie. Theo James had a good one. Let me see what we got in the comments here. Let's see. I enjoyed Interview, beautiful set, and beautiful lead actor. Yeah. Like I said, I was so... I don't say proud, because like I almost sounds like I'm a father and she's my daughter, but like, you know, to have a peer that I went to high school with, to see her doing work that I not just like, oh wow, like a classmate that I know went, you know, worked on Interview with the Vampire. It's like, no, I really respect what she did, and like to have that level of respect and to see someone who's putting out that level, that caliber of work. Where I mean, she's been nominated for an Emmy before. I can't imagine her not getting nominated and winning for one of these two, Pachinko or Interview. Oh yeah, she was great. Beautiful lead actor. I'm assuming that's, I don't know which one that is. You could be talking about Jacob Anderson, who's Grey Worm on Game of Thrones, or I don't know who the guy was that played Lestat. I've never seen that guy before, but he was great, man. Like he was really good. Those homecoming shows were great for me. So much fun. Yeah, like I like those homecoming shows, man. Like I said, they were I don't want to say inspirational, but it was like I admire the fact that they had to tackle the things that they tackled. Like I watched the which one was it? I can't remember if it was New York or LA, but the one that had Tammy, who Tammy went on to be all different sorts of things later. But her having to revisit the shit that happened with the dude David, like that was really good stuff. Karma, what up though? Okay, shout out, great to see you live. Happy Saturday. Yeah. I hope you hang around. Rick and Morty is always getting better. Yeah. Severance and Yellow Jackets at Abbott Elementary, my favorite shows of 2022. Yellow Jackets was a 2021 for me, so I think I put that at number 3 for 2021. Severance will be appearing later in this video. And Abbott, I don't put network comedies in here, but I do, and like I feel like just like what I'm doing just doesn't, like, it'd be weird to kind of put a network comedy in there. But I am really enjoying this current season of Abbott. I think the second season is off to a better start than the first one. And I actually, it just came back this Wednesday. I gotta watch the new one, but I haven't seen the new one since they came back. But yeah, I'm really enjoying Abbott this year. Yep. Wait, is Mayor Easttown season? I don't know. You might be late. Oh, there was some confusion earlier between Mayor of Easttown and Mayor of Kingstown. So I was talking about Mayor of Kingstown season 2. I don't know if I said Easttown or not, but I was talking about Mayor of Kingstown season 2. I don't know about Mayor of Easttown. Maybe not. It gave me kind of like one season feels, but it was so successful. I could see them, and I don't know what else Kate Winslet got going on. I could see them just coming up with a new story and bringing it back. So my next honorable mention, I have, let's see, I think I have about 8 more before I get to the ones that are actually ranked. Westworld season 4. I put it in here because, you know, a lot of people, I feel like revisionist history Westworld this season. Everybody liked Westworld season 4 up until the end, and I agree the end fucked it up. Like they didn't stick the landing. But like we were fucking with it for like the first maybe like 4, 5, 6 episodes. I think we were all into it. And then like the last 2 kind of stunk, and then everybody was like, yo, fuck Westworld season 4. I'm like, yo, we liked Westworld season 4. They do the same thing to Game of Thrones. Like, yes, Game of Thrones ended, but you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Like, yo, fuck Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones is the greatest television experience of my life, fam. Like, we're not gonna throw that out because they didn't stick the landing. Like, I don't like doing that. Game of Thrones is forever goated. Like, don't tell me shit, because yes, I admit the last season was fucking whack, but like, nah, chill out with Game of Thrones slander. Dahmer, the Netflix miniseries. I mean, shit, Evan Peters, man, that boy got the fucking Emmy nomination on deck for sure. Really gripping, really suspenseful, really well done. Yeah, I really enjoyed that. I was surprised. I thought it would be kind of hokey, but I thought it was great. Niecy Nash was fucking great in that. Like, I didn't know she had those kind of acting chops. Like, yeah, that was really fucking entertaining. Like, Dahmer might have been one where, again, if I had a little bit more time to, like, think about it, because I didn't spend too much time thinking about the stuff that I put into the honorable mentions. If I had a little bit more time to think about it, I probably would have ranked it a little bit higher. I really enjoyed that one. The Handmaid's Tale Season 5, another strong season for The Handmaid's Tale. It dialed down a little bit of that, just the constant wave of shit that happens, to terrible shit that happens to these people. But the feeling didn't go away because we expect something terrible to happen all the time. I felt like this season was consistent with, I'd say, like the previous 3 or so. Handmaid's Tale, I feel like it's not really bringing anything new to the table. It's about time to wrap it up, but it still kind of maintains the feeling of foreboding that, like, I think the first 2 seasons brought, where you felt like, yo, real life could end up like this. Like, this show is extra scary, and I feel like it's kind of gotten away from that. It's relied on some things that have come to irritate me, but I still think this season was really solid, really entertaining season. But yeah, it's probably about time to wrap that one up. Let the Right One In on Showtime is another one that's in here. That was one where I did a video for the first 2 episodes. In my video, I basically was kind of like, look, if you're expecting this to be the movie, the Swedish movie that it's based on, I think it's from like 2008. I don't even remember how I saw it. I did see it. I was seeing a lot of foreign shit back then too, because I had the time going to like the art theaters around here. So I saw Let the Right One In, the original Swedish version, probably in a theater around here. But in the first video that I did for episodes 1 and 2, I was like, this ain't the movie, so don't come into here thinking it's going to be like the movie. It's not going to be like the movie. It's got some of that in there, but it's not that. And that's kind of just what I gave, like, in the video, just kind of like, this is what it is. And I kept watching it, and it got fucking entertaining, man. It's like, it's a vampire show. Like, what I tell people is, Let the Right One In, the movie, is kind of like a romance story in which one of the characters just so happens to be a vampire. Let the Right One In, the TV show, is a fucking vampire show that features a romance. Like, so that's kind of the distinction, but I think the vampire stuff they do works. I mean, it's good. It's great popcorn television, like stuff that you can just sit back and watch. You don't have to think too hard, but it's not gonna make things happen that are gonna make you go, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense, or what the fuck was this? This was dumb. Like, it's not gonna have things that are gonna take you out of it. You don't have to pay super close attention, and it's really fucking entertaining. The little girl who stars in it is incredible. Like, she's so adorable. She's great at what she does in the show. Like, it's really entertaining, and if it gets a second season, I'm probably gonna do full coverage of it. Next, The Sandman on Netflix. I put The Sandman in here because I felt like The Sandman's highs were really fucking high, and its lows were, like, not that bad. But, like, the highs were high, and I thought it's good enough to be in the honorable mentions. Like I said, only really the last 10 are ranked, and I'm almost to those last 10. I'll let you know when I start on them. But it wasn't good enough to make the top 10, but it was something where its highs were so high that I wanted to shout it out on this video. And we will be revisiting The Sandman when I talk about some of the best episodes of television I saw this year, because that show had 2 of them. So yeah, it had to be mentioned. If one show gets 2, it has to get mentioned in the list. Peacemaker. That was my first video of the year. You know, when I started doing this, when I started this year, Peacemaker was the first thing that I watched that was released in 2022, and I thought it was shockingly good. Like, not like, oh, this is gonna win all the Emmys, shockingly good, but like, I thought it was gonna be like stupid, but it was like really entertaining. I'm like all in on Peacemaker season 2. Like I thought it was really entertaining. That was a really fun show. John Cena was great in it. Like that was a really fun experience. So and right now this is number 13 on the list. And like I said, they're numbered, but they're not ranked after the number 10. But I would like Peacemaker at 13 feels about right. 13th honorable mention, that is, not 13th overall. Stranger Things season 4. I thought this was the strongest Stranger Things season since the first one. I thought it was dark, it was creepy. Like it dispensed with a lot of the stuff that I thought was corny. The stuff with, I think the weakest stuff was with Hopper in the prison. Like that stuff, I think with Winona Ryder coming in, that stuff wasn't all that great, but everything else I thought was really good. This was, yeah, I thought this was the best season since the first one. So really, really strong Stranger Things season. The Peripheral, this is the last one before I get to the top 10 of the honorable mentions. The Peripheral. The Peripheral is one where they set the bar real fucking high on those first 2 episodes, and it made me like, yeah, I'm watching this shit. And it to me, it didn't get bad, but it never returned to the highs of the first 2 episodes. But I did think it was interesting. I did think it was compelling. I will watch season 2 if it gets one. So yeah, The Peripheral. Before I get to this is the actual top 10 of the honorable mentions. I'm going to catch up on these comments real quick. Mayor of Kingstown is definitely season 2 this month. Yup. Oh, that's this month. 2 weeks. Westworld RIP for sure. I'm surprised they didn't get the 2nd season. I really am. I mean the 5th season, final season. Sorry. The Patient, 8.9 out of 10. I'm gonna be talking about The Patient a little bit later. But The Patient's one of those things where I respect a lot of what I saw. I respected the performances, but at the end of the day, I still felt like even though it was kind of short, it was too long. Like, I feel like that was a great hour and a half, 2 hour long movie. Like, I felt like they drew that out longer than they needed to, but some great stuff on The Patient. I'm assuming this is Axel. Dahmer was great. Nash was a star. She was awesome. She really was. Dahmer was just effed up to sit and think about. So awful. Yeah. Dahmer, man. Yeah, there's no Dahmer rewatch ever. Nope. Handmaid's had its time, but I still love it. Yeah. June Murder Face season 6. Fuck that. Let the Right One In had a great ending. It did. I enjoyed Bad Sisters. So I heard good stuff about Bad Sisters, but then I also heard that Bad Sisters was one of those shows that started off really good and then kind of fizzled out at the end. Like The Old Man was like that. Like the first episode of The Old Man was great, and then it never, just like The Peripheral, it never met that peak. But at least the Peripheral, for me, Peripheral stayed like very watchable. To me, Old Man, like, it lost a lot of what it had at the beginning. But I heard Bad Sisters fell off. Servant and Landscapers, I don't hear much about them. Yeah, Servant, I haven't seen either of those. I thought about watching Landscapers, but something else came out around the time where I was going to start it, and I never got around to it. Peacemaker was great. Greatest opening, hell yeah. Bad Sisters was great. Okay, so another one on Bad Sisters. Man, don't get me trying to watch some shit like way after the fact. I was actually in the same city in Germany the same 2 years Dahmer was there. Okay. This just got dark. All right. Okay, I forgot I can move my computer's a touchscreen too. I can move that. All right, so now my honorable mentions, the top 10 of my honorable mentions are actually ranked. So look at this as like 11 through 20. So number 10 is Winning Time. That is the HBO show about the Showtime Lakers. Starred a couple of guys who I've never seen before in the roles of Magic and Kareem, who are both fucking great. But it's one of those shows that I feel like if you think that, oh, I'm not a big NBA fan, so I won't like this show, I think you're wrong. Like, I think this is a show that even if you're not a big NBA fan, you would enjoy it. Great performances, really interestingly shot. Like, they shot it with literal, like, old-ass cameras and shit. Like, so it doesn't just look that way. They didn't, like, put filters on it or do it in post. Like, they actually got old fucking cameras to shoot it. They do a whole lot of weird shit, like, you know, breaking the fourth wall, but I think they do it to good effect. It's not overused or poorly used. It's really entertaining to watch because it's not just about the Showtime Lakers. It's like, you know, how good they did as a basketball team. It's about, I mean, it opens up with Magic learning about getting AIDS, so like, or HIV. So you know we're working to that point. So there's gonna be, you know, there's talk of not talk, but there's you know, visualizations of Magic's philandering, whatever you want to call it, Kareem's activism. Like, there's all sorts of interesting things in here. Jerry Buss, the Lakers owner, having to deal with the financial aspects of keeping the team, buying the team, keeping the team, making the team profitable. Like, there's all sorts of really interesting things in this show that I don't think you need to be a Lakers fan to enjoy. And I thought it was really fucking entertaining, man. I was really impressed. I'm looking forward to a season 2. I'm hoping that I get to see the Pistons on there, man, because that's going to be good. My number 9 honorable mention, which, shout out to DVR Podcast, was pretty high on, I think, Heath's top 10, is Tokyo Vice. A lot of people don't talk about Tokyo Vice. I didn't even finish my coverage of Tokyo Vice, but I do kind of sort of plan to. I still have my notes for the final episode. So, like, literally, I do just need to record the videos, but I feel like I should watch the episodes again so that the notes aren't so foreign. But I didn't finish the coverage just because Tokyo Vice was on Slow Horses at a time when things got, like, really fucking hectic. I'm guessing that would have been probably around April. April was crazy. So, yeah, I didn't finish my coverage of Tokyo Vice, but I like Tokyo Vice, man. It's like a... So Ansel Elgort plays this American journalist who goes to Japan, and he wants to work for, like, their premier newspaper, I guess. And it's just kind of like, you got the cultural aspect of, like, really tall American white guy trying to fit in Japan, sticks out like a sore thumb. He's like a foot taller than everybody else. He doesn't understand the culture, how things work in a newsroom there. And then you also have the added complexity of him getting involved in this I don't want to call it a case, but, like, this situation with the Yakuza, and, like, it gets crazy, man. And Ken Watanabe is in it, who I've loved since what was that the fucking movie where Tom Cruise, oh yeah, The Last Samurai. Where Tom Cruise is The Last Samurai. That was the first time I saw Ken Watanabe, and I've liked him ever since. And he's in that. It's really good. Yeah, and it's got a season 2, I believe, already. They ended the season well. I didn't realize it was even meant to be multiple seasons until the finale. I'm like, wait a minute, this feels like the end of a season 1 and not the end of a show's run. But yeah, man, Tokyo Vice was good as fuck, man. Again, Tokyo Vice is like peak popcorn TV. Like how I said, Let the Right One In is really good popcorn TV. Tokyo Vice is like grade A popcorn TV. Like, it ain't gonna win no fucking Emmys, but, like, that's something where I feel like it's a universal recommendation. Like, a lot of times I could be like, well, if you like this kind of show, then you might like this. If you like this, then you might like that. I feel like anybody would like Tokyo Vice. So really big recommendation on Tokyo Vice. And the fact that Tokyo Vice is essentially the 19th show on my list speaks to how high the quality was this year. Hack season 2. At number 8, or actually, you know, I'll just say 18 because they're ranked at this point, so I'm just gonna say it's number 18. Hack season 2, pretty much the same as season 1, but it continue. There's no drop off here. Like, it's consistently funny, it's consistently high quality, consistently well acted. It's just really high quality shit. So Hacks was in my top 10, and it just got pushed out as more things came out. Raised by Wolves season 2, RIP to Raised by Wolves, that got canceled over on HBO, but that shit is like hard sci-fi, man. Like how I was just saying, like, there's certain things you can't recommend to everybody. Raised by Wolves is one of the things where, like, this is a me show. Like, it's at number 17 because I fuck with stuff like this, but, like, I feel like Raised by Wolves is so hard sci-fi that it's really hard for me to recommend to everybody, but I think it's really good. RIP, I thought it was really good. I'm still hoping somebody picks it up, but yeah, it's even hard to describe. It's about it's even hard. Yeah, it's hard to describe. It's like androids versus, like, Christians. Are they Christians? I can't remember. It's been a while, but it ends up on another planet, and there's something having to do with like religious people versus androids, and it's weird. It's a really weird show. It has been a long time since I've seen it. I can't even tell you the plot, but like I said, it is real weird. Number 16 is Only Murders in the Building season 2. I feel the same way about that as I feel about Hack season 2. I think Only Murders in the Building season 2 might be better than season 1, but it's so low on my list because this was just a good year. Like, Only Murders in the Building season 1 would have made my top 10 last year had I seen it in time. But it wasn't until I did a top 10 that I found out about it, and people convinced me to watch it, so I watched it and I thought it was great. But I think Only Murders in the Building gets extra points because it's something that I wouldn't think I would like. And I think it's great. Like, I love the vibe to it, how it gives like this kind of like Clue feel. I think that, like, I never liked Steve Martin. I've hated Martin Short, and I love them both on this show. They're at the perfect dosage of each of them for me to be like, this is the perfect amount of Martin Short for me to tolerate. He is at the perfect, he's dialed to like Martin Short's normally on 10, and he's like dialed down to like 7 on this show, and I'm like, oh, 7 is a perfect number for how much Martin Short I can tolerate. But Selena Gomez is great in it. It's really entertaining, man. It's really funny. Yeah, I really like Only Murders in the Building. That's that's one of those shows that I could get, if it stays just like this, you could give me like 10 seasons of it and I would fuck with it. But they old, so I don't think we're gonna get 10 seasons of that. Number 15 is Pachinko on Apple TV Plus. I talked about that a little bit earlier. My high school classmate production design on that. It's a show that kind of chronicles this family's journey from, like, I think it was 1920s Japan and Korea through I think the present day is like in the 80s, something like that. But you learn a lot about this conflict that happened between the Japanese and Korean people. You learn a lot about the culture. It looks insanely good. It's great. It's insanely well acted. It's one of those ones though where it's not action packed or anything like that. It has a great episode in it that is pretty powerful, but yeah, it's not something that's action packed. It doesn't have a terribly rapid pace, but it's something that, like, if you're in it, if you can enjoy the relationships that you see, the cultural conflicts, those sorts of things, the family dynamic and how that comes through and shows within the grandkids in the 80s. I think you really enjoy this kind of show. Number 14 is We Own This City, another HBO show made by the creators of The Wire, Simon Pelecanos, stars John Bernthal, and it's about Baltimore corrupt police, just like The Wire. But it's a little bit. It's still a drama show, but it feels a little bit more documentary-y. Like, it's the story is told mostly through interviews with these cops who did this dirt during this time period, and they're talking mainly about John Bernthal's character, Wayne Jenkins. Great performance by John Bernthal. He's another one who had a great fucking year, man. I thought We Own the City, really entertaining to watch. It's just, again, We Own the City, Pachinko, Only Murders in the Building, Raised by Wolves. These were all in my top 10 at one point, and they just got moved out. Number 13, The White Lotus Season 2. If you were around when I started doing the White Lotus Season 2 coverage, you're probably like, didn't see this day where I would be speaking highly of the White Lotus. I didn't really fuck with Season 1 like that. I didn't get why people liked it so much. I hypothesized about why when I started my coverage for Season 2. But Season 2 did such a good job with the characters and their relationships with one another and how they were tied to each other kind of like culturally, like the idea of like somebody who just came into money versus somebody who's been in money. Like, all of those sorts of things I found so fucking interesting that I didn't even think about the little raggedy ass murder that's supposed to be happening. And I love that because Season 1, it was all I thought about. Because it felt like that's what they wanted me to focus on. Like, hey, we got this murder. Let's figure out who did it. Here's everything that led up to it. And it felt like that was the point. Whereas Season 2, the murder felt like an afterthought. And to the point where I made a whole theorizing video before the finale because I'm like, yo, I completely forgot to even think about that. But they did such great work with the characters on that show and those relationships. And Aubrey Plaza was great in it. Like I said, Theo James has had a really great year. I thought everybody was pretty good in that. The woman who played Daphne, her name escapes me, but she was really good. Yeah, The White Lotus, man, it impressed me this year. It really did. But at the end of the day, it still is kind of one of those things where it's like again, these characters just don't seem real to me. I'm just kind of like, I don't know. I still feel like there are people who watch it and be like, I know people like that, or this seems like people I would know. And I watch it and I'm like, there's no way there are real humans who behave like this. But whatever. Number 12 is Slow Horses. And Slow Horses, this will be season 1 and 2. Both will release this year. It's a British spy thriller on Apple TV. And like Tokyo Vice, peak popcorn TV with starring Gary Oldman. The only thing I don't like about Slow Horses, and it's prevalent in season 1, is they think that the fart joke, they make too many fucking fart jokes. And when I say fart jokes, I don't mean like jokes about farts. Too many times where Gary Oldman is farting in the first season. Like, that bothered me. I'm like, why do they think this is funny? Like, does this shit still slap in the UK? Like, fart jokes? Like, what are we, 8? But they did. I think there was maybe like one fart joke in the whole season 2. And I think it was just the verbalization of it. It wasn't an actual fart. So like, it almost felt like they like they watched my videos like, yeah, maybe we should cut the farts out. That's just stupid. But it's a British spy thriller. There are 2 6-episode seasons. There's a separate story in each one. They're based off of books by this guy. I think his name is Mick Herron. I kind of want to read these books because the show is so entertaining. But yeah, each season is it's a 6-episode contained story. The season 2 is a completely different story. And yeah, I'm not even gonna talk about it too much because like there's so much cool shit that happens. Like I said, it's a spy thing, so you know there's gonna be twists, turns, backstabbing, all that kind of shit. And usually an episode with a whole bunch of reveals and oh, this is what really happened and backstabbings. It's crazy. It's great. So I love Slow Horses. Number 11, House of the Dragon. A lot of people's number 1, but yeah, I mean, I don't have anything negative to say about House of the Dragon. I don't. It's only at number 11 because I like the other 10 more. That's it. That's it. I don't have any complaints. Like, even the shit people complained about, the fucking time jumps, like, I don't give a fuck about that. Like, it became clear to me very early on that, and I'm not just talking out of my ass here. I got the videos to prove it. Very early on, I was like, this kind of just feels like the prologue to a different story that they want to tell. Like, we're gonna reach a point where they're done with time jumps, and now they're gonna tell the story that they want to tell. And instead of giving us like a prologue, like you might read in a book, like 2 pages of like, here's what happened, they gave it to us visually over the course of like 4 episodes or something like that. And I didn't mind that at all. They're like, oh, I don't get to know these characters. The character's fucking dead. It doesn't matter. Like, you don't need to know that character because they don't matter to the story that the show wants to tell. So like, the time jumps didn't bother me. I thought it had everything Game of Thrones that I would expect to have. The only thing that I think the show could stand to do, I don't even want to say could stand to do, I think needs to do, is they need to get out of fucking King's Landing, man. Like, yeah, King's Landing, because like, they need to start going to other places. Like, I can't be in the fucking small council room for 45 minutes a week. Like, we gotta be like, we need to go to Dorne. We need to go to Winterfell. Like, we need to go to all these different places, man. I want to see some different environments. I want to see characters that come in from these different places who get involved in these stories. Yeah, I don't want to be in fucking Flea Bottom and fucking the small council room and a throne room, and that's it for like the whole season. Let's go to some other places. But everything else I thought was great, man. It was Game of Thrones to me, man, and that's really all I need. I thought they did some really great stuff with dragons. The one episode where they fucked up the the lighting again. I don't know why they have the unforced errors with the lighting. And why that became a thing now, like that wasn't a thing before. What was the Long Night? Was that the episode that the Game of Thrones where it was all fucked up? Like, that wasn't really a thing before. Then now they've done it twice after what happened the first time. But other than that, really good stuff. So yeah, I love House of the Dragon. So that's the end of the honorable mentions. Where are we at now? What time is it? It's only 3:45. Okay, cool. That's the end of our mentions. Let me check out some comments here. See where we're at. Oh man. Okay, y'all got me going back a little bit too far. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Lakers show was great. Not an NBA person. It was fascinating. See, told you. 10 out of 10 for Winning Time. 10 out of 10 for Tokyo Vice. See, told you. Weirdest show in years, like a sci-fi acid trip. That must have been when I was talking about Raised by Wolves. I really wanted to like Raised by Wolves, but it was too over my head. No, Raised by Wolves, that's why I said hard sci-fi. Like, there's a certain amount of shit you gotta let go and understand that it's not meant to make sense. And you have to also understand that it's okay to be okay with it. Like, because like I could sit and go, that doesn't make sense on a different show because that show is supposed to make sense. This shit's supposed to be weird. I'm not supposed to understand everything because this is a world that doesn't really exist. Like, it's outside of any laws or rules that we know of. So there's some things that aren't going to make sense. I think you can accept that. It becomes a little bit easier to digest. Tracy, it's worth it. It is. Essentially the same show in season 2. Oh yeah, we having a conversation here. All right. Let's see what else we got. John Bernthal nailed the accent, nailed it. Loved Foundation. Foundation was my shit. Foundation was, I can't remember where it fell, but Foundation was in my top 10 last year, and whenever Foundation comes back, all over it. I love Foundation. I like White Lotus, but I think what happened with that is the definition of recency bias. Fleischman is in Trouble was way better, in my humble opinion. At least spoke to me more. I could see that. I could see that. Yeah, White Lotus. Well, I mean, I did say that. I feel like Fleischman, if I had more time to sit with it, it probably would. I can't say it would have been higher because that was in a section that wasn't ranked. But like, if I go to like my top 10 of honorable mentions, I mean, like Fleischman, Interview with the Vampire, The English. Like, some of those would probably knock out some of these in the top 10, maybe. But yeah, I would not argue with anyone who feels like Fleischman is better than White Lotus. I wouldn't argue with that at all. I really enjoyed White Lotus season 2 more than the first. Did you watch the morning show? No, I did not watch the morning show. We Own This City, 10 out of 10. Staircase, 10 out of 10. I need to fuck with the Staircase. I didn't believe people in real life behave like the White Lotus character. I still don't. Morning show, I have feelings. White Lotus season 1 and 2 I like equally. Top 10 better be good. What the fuck you think? Of course it's gonna be fucking good. Like I'm gonna be like, yeah, top 10, fucking Law and Order. What the fuck I look like? I hope White Lotus diversifies the cast. I didn't want to see rich white people flaunting their wealth in foreign locales. Part of why I couldn't finish season 1. I feel that. Didn't know it was based on Matt Lauer and Katie Couric. Okay. Didn't until you said something that makes sense. All right, cool. So, on to the top 10. Can't believe somebody said it better be good. What the fuck? All right, so number 10, Barry, season 3. I feel like enough people don't watch Barry. Barry's really fucking good, man. And I try not, I don't want to call Bill Hader a genius, but Bill Hader does some really fucking, like, I don't know, man. I look at some of the stuff he does with this show, and I'm like, I had no idea that Bill Hader had these kind of capabilities. And when I mean these kind of capabilities, I don't mean like comedic timing. I mean like he directs episodes of this show. He writes this show. Like, he does like all of these things. Like, he is deeply, deeply involved in the creative process in this show. And it's incredible. Like, it's a really good show. If you're unfamiliar, he plays a aspiring actor who is actually, well, he's a hitman who wants to be an actor, and he moves to LA to pursue this acting career, and he ends up getting into hitman problems. That's kind of like season 1, and now season 3 is more just kind of like, okay, we set up who this guy is, we set up what his relationships are like, let's kind of just put him in these situations and see how he deals with them. He's not necessarily like trying to be an actor that hard. I mean, he is still, but that's less of a, like in season 1, he's going to like acting classes and shit. He's not doing that in this season, but you get Henry Winkler, the Fonz, as his acting coach, Gene Cousineau, who he had a great season 3. Henry Winkler did. The actress who plays Barry's girlfriend on the show, she had a great season. Barry, and then Barry had one of the better episodes of the season. Barry also has like, you get like an episode a season that's almost like surreal, where it's like, it feels like it's real, and then certain things are happening. You're like, wait, what the fuck? Like, there's no way this is like, this could really be happening, right? And he interjects these weird kind of like surreal episodes to the season. And this season had an episode that I'm going to talk about later in the best episodes where Yeah, it had a chase scene for the ages, man. It was crazy. So, yeah, Barry, season 3, number 10. Number 9, FX's Under the Banner of Heaven. This was a show on FX on Hulu. I don't think it actually... No, did it air on FX? It might have aired on FX. But I think it was an FX on Hulu show, which means it just came out on Hulu on that day. But it starred Andrew Garfield. He's like the middle Spider-Man between Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland. And it's about a murder within this Mormon community. And he plays a Mormon cop. And he's in his investigation of this murder, he essentially kind of has to come to grips with not just the gruesome details of this murder, not just the fact that it was perpetrated by people who share his religion, but he also has to now confront how he feels about his religion, that he's been so deeply entrenched within, and now he's kind of in a situation where he's like, I had no idea that this religion is based on such shitty things. And like, if you watch my videos for Under the Banner of Heaven, there's a whole lot of I don't want to say conversation because it's me talking, but conversation about religion and their religion in particular, this fundamentalist version of Mormonism. And then there's great stuff in the comments where people are telling me like, yeah, I used to be one of them, and this is what this is like, and wow, I'm surprised you're able to like understand that, but yeah, it's just like this. And there's like really interesting stuff that comes to light about the nature of Mormonism and this fundamentalist branch of it that's troubling, interesting. And then when you couple it with the comments on my videos, it's just like really informative, and it's a scary show. It's pretty suspenseful, pretty tense, pretty hard to watch, gruesome. Yeah, just really good, kind of like a suspenseful murder mystery, I guess, but peak level of that. Number 8 is Severance, which Severance, I think was probably at one point, I don't think it was ever number 1, but Severance was probably top 3 and just kind of like got pushed down a little bit. But I love Severance. Severance, if you are a long fan of this channel, you know one of the things that I love to say, and it's going to come up multiple times in the remainder of this top 10, I give shows extra points for showing me shit I've never seen before. And Severance is some shit you ain't never seen before. And it's I almost don't even want to describe it to you because I feel like almost describing it is like robbing you of the experience of it. But essentially, it's a show that takes place in this workplace where they find a way to literally detach you from your work persona and your home persona. So when you go into work, you go into this elevator and now you are work you. They call you an innie. You are in work and you have no recollection of your life outside of work, and you only have recollection of your time inside of work. And then when you leave, you have no recollection of your time inside of work and only of your time outside of work. And the way they play with that dynamic is really fucking great, man. And they introduce all of these interesting mysteries. They answer a lot of the questions in the finale, which the finale, when you talk about sticking the landing on a finale, Severance did it. So Severance, really looking forward to season 2. Yeah, like that Severance, I almost feel bad about having it at number 8, considering how much I liked it. Severance could be a number 1 on anybody's list, and I wouldn't argue it. Severance was great. Number 7 is Euphoria season 2. Another one that I kind of feel bad about having as low as I did, but again, like I said about one of the honorable mentions, it's like whichever one I had at number 13, something like that. I'm like, I feel like, you know, it's number 13 now. But I was talking about House of the Dragon, but it's like stuff just kept pushing it out, and it's like Euphoria just kept getting pushed down. But Euphoria is a show that I continue to talk about. I've talked about it since it premiered. I think it's a show that you got to get past the perception of it being just like raunchy teen shit. Like, it's not about, hey, let's just do drugs and let's have sex and let's fuck. Like, it's not about that. That is an aspect of it, but it's meant to kind of like, it's more about addiction. And the way this show tackles addiction is incredible. Like, I've never seen addiction portrayed like I see it in this show. And when I say addiction portrayed, I don't just mean like, here's a character going through withdrawal. Like, I don't mean that. I mean like everything about it. Like the way the addict's behavior, in this case, Rue, the main character, how it affects their family. And like, there's just so many great scenes of like, where everyone gets a chance to shine. Like, you know, obviously Zendaya with all the fucking Emmys that she's winning, she's killing it, obviously. But like, everybody get a chance to shine because everybody brings so much energy and emotion into these roles when you're dealing with somebody who's not just somebody who's an addict, but when you're, I'm assuming, because I'm not an actor, but if you're an actor and you're on the set with somebody who's doing the kind of shit she's doing, like, I feel like it can't help but bring out the best in you. And I just feel like everybody on this show just is bringing A-game shit. They have a great couple of episodes to end this season that revolve around a play that are fucking incredible. The 6th episode, I believe, it's the 5th episode, and I'm going to talk about it in the best episode section, was one of the most exciting episodes of television I've ever seen. Like, I feel like I was like gripping the couch, like post-pounding action, like the whole fucking episode. Euphoria is an incredible show, man, and I just hate that people miss it because, like, you know, you think like, oh, it's teenagers fucking and sucking. Like, yeah, I mean, it is that, but it's for a purpose. Number 6 is Better Call Saul, season 6, the final season. Another one that I was just like, I hate that it's this low. But when I talk about adding extra points for showing me something I've never seen before, Better Call Saul actually suffered from living up to my wildly high expectations. It's like Better Call Saul in its final season had no chance at earning showing me shit I hadn't seen before points because I had 10 prior seasons of this crew giving me exemplary fucking television. So I go into this expecting exemplary fucking television, and that's exactly what I got. Better Call Saul is just another great season of this show. I thought season 5 was better, by the way, but season 6 is still great. Like I said, I hate having it this low, but it didn't. Everything above it got points for showing me shit I hadn't seen before or making me feel a way about a show that I hadn't felt before, lingering with me long after I've watched it. Everything above Better Call Saul did that in a way that Better Call Saul couldn't do. Not didn't do, like it was a failure of Better Call Saul. It couldn't do because the bar for that show is just so fucking high. So you got 10 seasons of this crew and this cast, well, not this cast, but this crew giving me this caliber of television. So it didn't earn the extra points for that. But Better Call Saul had 2 of my favorite episodes of the year. It ended perfectly. It was what it is. It was the same as it always is. It was fucking great, man. I don't even get with the people who say that the first couple seasons is slow. I don't even agree with that. I thought they're different, but like I thought the first couple seasons was good too. So yeah, love Better Call Saul. Number 5, Andor. Yet another one. I feel like Andor, I could put it number 1, and I wouldn't feel any kind of way about it. Like, I am just as surprised as everyone else about how high, about Andor even being on people's lists, let alone as high as it is. I've seen Andor as high as number 1. I've seen Andor in every list. And the reason that you see Andor in all these lists, it's again, for now, like the 3rd or 4th consecutive time, I'm bringing it up. It's about showing me some shit I haven't seen before. And this show took Star Wars in a direction that I think is now going to lead Star Wars into a direction it needs to go, which is essentially telling you these stories about these people that are just, they don't have to be fucking lightsabers and Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker. Like, this show told you about what is the perspective of someone who is just like the fucking like farmer who lives on a planet in the middle of this huge fucking rebellion where Darth Vader is, you know, all the kind of shit we're seeing in the movies. What is the life like for this farmer who lives on this one planet? What is the life like in this prison? What is it like and giving you these really grounded stories about these individuals within this universe that are creative. Like, who the fuck, like, the prison arc in this season of Andor is incredible. Like, who comes up with this? Like, I'm watching this, like, this is so creative. This is so compelling. You bring in Andy fucking Serkis. It's like, so, it's just so good. They structure it perfectly in these like 3-4 episode chunks. People are gonna tell you they're in 3 episode chunks, but the prison arc is really 4. Don't quite listen to that, but they put them in these little these little story arc chunks where it's like you get like a introductory build up episode, then you get the episode that kind of like lays out the stakes for the final one, and then the 3rd episode will be just kind of like whatever it is that the whatever big kind of showy episode that they want to have. And it works week to week. getting these small digestible stories. It works over the course of the season to kind of like tell this story about how a guy who wasn't that particularly interested in being some sort of big rebel ends up being the guy who we see in Rogue One. And it's so creative, it's so compelling, it's so entertaining, and it earned even more points by being it's probably the show. I'm gonna look at my top 3 or 4. It might be the show that I look the most forward to week. It's I don't know. It's between that and my number 2 show. Both of those well, my number 2 and number 3, but yeah, it was that good. And it again, I could put it number 1, and I wouldn't put it number 1 because I'm very passionate about my number 1. But if I would put it at number 2, I wouldn't feel any kind of way about it. And I'd feel more of a way about it being as low as 5 than I would about it being at number 2. But I just can't conceivably push any of these top 4 down. So number 4 is 1883. 1883 came out in late December 2021, but the bulk of the episodes aired in 2022. I watched the entirety of it in 2022, so that I put it on my 2022 list since I watched it this year and most of the episodes aired this year. And 1883 is part of the Taylor Sheridan universe. It's a spinoff from Yellowstone. It takes place generations prior to the Dutton family of Yellowstone. It's still the Dutton family, just generations prior in 1883. And what I loved about this show, and these Taylor Sheridan shows in the Yellowstone universe have this across the board. So it's gonna look incredible. Like the visuals, the landscapes, its beauty beauty is hard to miss on this show and on any of these Yellowstone related shows. But again, shit I haven't seen before. This show took the most, like, it really helped you feel like you were in 1883 by making these characters having to overcome obstacles that, when you think about it, were massive obstacles in 1883 that would be like something you wouldn't even think about now. Like they're sitting there like, hey, we're trying to go from this one state to this other state. How are we gonna get all these horses and these crates and these carriages across this river? like who would, like, I don't know, I wouldn't think of that. Just find the bridge. There's probably not a fucking bridge yet. Take the freeway. It's not a fucking freeway. So it's like, I don't know. They had all of these interesting scenarios that were like played up for like really high tension, really high stakes, really dramatic. That were things that wouldn't even matter today. And I just thought that was really interesting. And I just thought it was incredibly well acted. It starred 2 like country singers, like Tim McGraw and Faith Hill. I think they're married. They were incredible. Like, I thought they were great in this show. Sam. What was that? Why am I drawing a blank on his name? Oh my man, he was so fucking good, man. Y'all gonna tell me in the comments, man. Sam, what was his name? I'm gonna read the comments real quick. Okay, now I can see when I'm watching the video, the video is behind by like maybe like 5 to 10 seconds. So the chat takes like 5 to 10 seconds to catch up to what I'm saying. So I'm looking away for it. Y'all like, who is my man name? Sam, fuck. Y'all gonna make me look it up now. God damn it, man. I was hoping somebody's gonna tell me. No, still nobody. Man, I can't believe y'all made me. Sam Elliott. God damn it, man. So, yes, Sam Elliott, man. He was fucking great in that show. Oh, man, it was so good, man. Like, 1883 was my number 1 for most of this year. Whenever my number 1 came out, that was when 1883 was moved out of number 1. So, like, 1883 was my number 1 for most of the year. These last 3 all either came out after... I think they all came out after 1883. One of them I might have only watched after 1883. It might have come out prior, but yeah, 1883, man. Now shit. Before I read the top 3, let me just see real quick. Hop up in these comments. Man, I gotta get more and more caught up every time. Comedians are definitely multifaceted. Yeah. Barry took crazy steps this year. Yup. Trying to remember when I laughed. a few more surreal moments this year. And Bunny Colvin, yo, Bunny Colvin, he's been. I'm sorry, Bunny Colvin is a character name, but I don't know the actor's name either. But he's been on a lot of shit this year. Like he's been popping up. He's in something I just watched. Interview with the Vampire? No, I don't think it would have had too many black people in that. He was in something I just watched. I don't know. He's something recent. Love every season of Barry. Yep. Heavenly Father didn't like the Banner of Heaven. Number 8. Now I'm upset. Oh, well, you mad Severance is number 8? Come on, man. I'm starting Severance tonight. Good call. I'm gonna start it now too. Good call. And then I got 9 videos for you to watch. Jealous of the folks starting Severance. Yes. I work in youth development. Euphoria is such a good representation of the stuff that teens really deal with today. It's such a good show about life. Yep, they make addicts complex and not scum of the earth. Exactly. Let's see, y'all talking back and forth. I respect the folks that kept going. Better Call Saul. Come on, man. I quit after a few episodes. Come on, man. Better Call Saul show definitely gets better on a binge. Shout out to Evan Moss Backrack from Andor and the Bear. What a great year for that guy. Yeah, he had a great year too. Andy is in Andor. I don't know who that Andy is. Bear was impressive. Damn right it was. Yeah, I remember he was in Girls. I love the Bear. Just rewatched 1883 with my mom. So good. You can tell he didn't skip on the budget. Damn right. Oregon Trail issues. Was their wagon chunking? Oh, here y'all. Oh, now y'all. Sam Elliott. Okay, here we are. Sheridan said he thinks 1883 is the most expensive TV show per episode ever made. I feel like Game of Thrones was like $10 million an episode at the end. I don't know about that. Woo! I've been so turned up talking about these shows. I forgot. That was my first sip of my drink, y'all. Y'all got me fucked up out here. I don't know why Bilbo Baggins. Why is he being mentioned? Oh, because he's yeah. I got it. Looked expensive. Yep. Andy Serkis. I thought you said he was in Andor. Oh yeah, Andy Serkis. Yes, he is in Andor. Yes, he's in the prison arc, which is, like I said, 4 episodes. I think 7, 8, 9, and 10. Yeah, Andy Serkis. Andy Serkis as Andy Serkis, not Andy Serkis in motion capture outfits playing Gollum or something. Actually, Andy Serkis, just like he was in Black Panther. All right, top 3. Let's get moving. Let's try to get this wrapped. It's only been a little over an hour. I was like, man, this shit gonna be like 3 hours long, but we got through the bulk of it, so the rest of it's gonna go fast after I do the top 10. So number 3, Industry season 2. I love Industry. Industry is a show that I kind of feel like most people wouldn't put it as high as I did, and I put it as high as I did because it's just my kind of shit. But Industry is basically Succession, but in like banking, as opposed to like just, I don't even know, like what they're like media moguls on Succession. I think they're a lot more powerful, whereas Industry is just kind of like young people fresh out of college getting into the banking industry. But season 1, I felt like it was still getting its footing. It was really good, and it had really great moments, but it was still just kind of getting its footing. And I felt like season 2, it upgraded in every possible fucking way. It cut down on gratuitous, like, look, I like fucking, I like watching drugs, all that kind of shit in my TV shows. I don't mind it. But Industry season 1 was way over the top with the sex, way over the top with the drugs, and it was way not pertinent to the show. And it was just like, okay, you don't have to go this hard. And I felt like season 2 dispensed with that a little bit. They cut it, not dispense with it, they cut back on it, and they really focused on telling a really compelling story. I love how, even though you don't understand, at least I don't, any of the fucking financial lingo that they speak, this show does a great job of helping you understand the stakes. So you don't have to understand the minutia, like all the little what that means, you just have to understand, I need this character needs this to happen. And if it does happen, great. If it doesn't happen, they're fucked. And then, like, that's all you really need to understand. And this show does a great job of doing that to where you can get all the emotional impact from these big scenes. And this season has some big fucking scenes, man. Like, you can get through these scenes and understand what you need to see happen and how that's going to impact the characters, and you don't need to understand all the technical talk. And week to week, I was incredibly interested in seeing what was going to happen with these people. I thought it improved on season 1 in every way. It became very much an HBO show. It felt like season 1 really feels like it's some BBC kind of shit. And I don't want to make that sound like an insult, like it's BBC or something, so it looks cheap or something like that. I'm not saying that, but it don't look HBO. It don't feel HBO. Season 2 feels HBO, and like I don't know, season 2 improved on season 1 in every way. And I love this show. I love these characters. If you watch my videos on that, I felt like they did some great work with the characters, and as far as like really digging into who they are and getting an understanding of them. And as I've been rewatching season 1 with my wife, I'm noticing too, the show does a great job with like, one of the things that I always say about Succession that I think is great is they don't tell you shit. They let the character, like the show happens and you learn from what you see on the screen. And this show, Industry, does a great job of that, where they don't explain shit to you. You just understand. Like there's a plot line in the first season that involves one of the boss characters doing something to one of the female characters that put her in a bad spot. She was scared. It was a very threatening situation. And she comes out of that situation and she's basically being questioned, like, how did this situation make you feel? Were you scared? Basically trying to see, like, do we got to fire this motherfucker? Like, what's going on? And all of the interactions that happened between these two characters after that moment, you had, like, the conversations, it's like what is said barely matters because you know you have the context of the situations that they had between each other. So you understand that the conversation that they're having revolve around that situation. So the words that they're speaking are relevant, but it's less about the fact that, like, oh, he's being nice to her right now. It's not about what he's technically saying. It's about the fact that he's being nice because he doesn't want her to throw him under the table regarding the situation that he put her in. And, like, this show is great with that kind of stuff where it's like you don't really have to, I don't want to say, it's not about paying attention, but it's about what's not being said and how the interaction that the characters are having is telling a story without the words telling you the story. And like I like that when shows don't explain to you what's going on. Manifest on Netflix is the complete fucking opposite. Manifest explains everything. Like you don't have to, you can watch Manifest with your eyes closed. Like they explain everything to you. Industry does the opposite. And I love that. I like the Industry Succession treat me like I'm not a fucking idiot. And they give me great storytelling, and they don't hold my hand through the whole thing. And I love the fact that they let me do that. They make me work, and it was incredibly compelling week to week. I was looking forward to it, crazy week to week, and yeah, I loved it. I love Industry. Can't wait for a third season. I hope it gets one. My number 2, Reservation Dogs season 2. Reservation Dogs is one that I heard a lot about in season 1. I didn't see season 1. Then I watched season 1, and I was like, that was cool, but like, I liked getting, seeing a show about Native American characters, and like, these kids are interesting, like they're fun, like it was fine, but like I didn't think that show was as great as everyone made it out to be. This season though, this season was good as fuck. Like this season took it to another level where, talking about culture, right? And how I said, like, in season 1, it was like, cool, like, I've never really seen a show about Native American characters on a reservation. This show took it to, like, a cultural level where you get to see, like, it felt like you were seeing things you shouldn't be able to see. Like, I shouldn't see this. I'm not Native American. Like, I should be exposed to their personal traditions and rituals and shit like that. But it was so heartfelt. It was so deep. It had such powerful moments. Like, man, one of the episodes I'm going to talk about, because one of the episodes of this made my best episodes thing list too. It was just so fucking powerful, and I'm like, I felt like I was experiencing what was happening in this episode, and feels like a less weighty comment than I mean it to be, but like, what I mean is like what I was saying about being able to see something I shouldn't be seeing. I felt like I was involved in a Native American ritual, not involved, but like present for a Native American ritual that I would never fucking see otherwise. Like it almost felt like I was like a fly on the wall. Like it was almost like a documentary. Like I was actually seeing this Native American ritual that I would never see. And it was so powerful. Like, man, this show did such great work. And every week it got to a point like around like episode 3 or 4 where I realized I'm like, every week I'm gonna get a new story that's gonna focus on one of these individual characters, one of these kids, and it's gonna be powerful, it's gonna be emotional, it's gonna be beautiful. Like, and they delivered on that for like 5 straight episodes. Like, I'm like, dog, how is this shit this fucking good? When now, every week, I'm coming into it like, okay, I expect this episode to focus on one of these characters. I expect it to be powerful and emotional and incredible. I come in with that expectation and it fucking delivered like 5 weeks in a row. Like, it was so, man, such a great season of television. I can't wait for season 3. I can't wait. And I feel bad that I don't have coverage of this show on my channel. But I will be remedying that if whenever season 3 comes out. And number 1, which if you're somebody who's been around this channel for a while, you already know what number 1 is. You guys have already been talking about it in the chat. Number 1 is The Bear, my favorite show of the year, bar none, not even fucking close. The Bear, I said 1883 was in the number 1 spot until The Bear came out. The Bear punted that motherfucker out of number 1. The Bear was my shit. And I'm going to tell you why. The Bear was my shit because The Bear is perfect. I don't get to say that often. The Bear is perfect. It does everything right at a very high level. It's not going to hit you with plot twists. It's not going to hit you with big violent scenes or like, oh, here's a scene that's going to make you cry, or here's a rape scene, or here's like a wild twist. And it's not pulling tricks out of the bag. It's telling a compelling story about interesting people, and it's doing it right. It's making every decision is the right one. It executes at the highest fucking level in every fucking way. It's a quick watch. You know, I was saying about The Patient, how I was saying like, even though it's a quick watch, it felt like it should have been shorter. Like it would have been better as a 2-hour movie. The Bear is, again, perfect in duration. Like it maximized every little bit of what it did. And what I mean by that is a lot of the payoffs that you get toward the end of that season work because of what all of the build up that they've done with these characters and how we get to know these characters and we learn what motivates them. Like, we know that Sydney is motivated to prove herself in this kitchen. We know that the one older lady, I forget the Latin American lady, she was we knew that she had kind of like had a chip on her shoulder about essentially being pushed out by Sydney. We knew that Marcus wanted to really start his own kind of like dessert thing. Like, all of these things we learn about these characters so that when Tina was the Latin character's name. When Tina does something nice for Sydney, it's like, oh shit, like she really got through to it. Like, it means something because we understand who she is and how big of a deal it is for her to accept Sydney. When Carmy slaps that fucking donut out of Marcus's hand that he's been working on for the whole fucking season, I was devastated. Like, how could you do that, you piece of shit? He's been like, how can you don't get that level of emotion on a TV show, like, after watching like fucking like 4 30-minute episodes, like, to get to that level of emotion when Carmy did that. Like, you don't get that in television, like where you could get to that point. But they did that. It's because they did not waste a moment. Everything mattered. Everything worked to build up to all of these moments to where when Carmy slaps that donut out of his hand, it's the culmination of all of what Marcus has put into that donut, trying to start his own dessert thing, how he's been doing it on the side in addition to his everyday job in the restaurant. Like, we know all of that build up to how important that was to him to finally get that right. And then we have the buildup of like everything that Carmy's been dealing with his brother. So we understand that he's volatile, the fucking ticket machine fucking up, and all the online orders coming. Like, we understand everything he's been, and because of that one simple moment of just slapping a donut out of a guy's hand was like the biggest emotional kick in the balls that I got in all of television this year, because they maximized the fuck out of everything they did building up to that. And that's why I say this show is perfect, because everything works, because not a minute is wasted. Everything is important. They build up these characters, so we know who they are. We care about what happens. And then when it happens, it fucking kicks you in the balls. Just like episode 2 was when I knew I was going to fuck with this show, because we had seen Eben Moss Backrack's character oh, I can't remember, Richie. We see him being a complete fucking typical fucking Italian guy, just being just uber fucking obnoxious through all of episode 1, all of episode 2. Then he gets on the phone with his daughter and turns into a fucking teddy bear, and you're just like, oh my god. Like, this is like, I would have never thought to see this side of this character. And I'm already just like blown away in the second episode with the character development in the second episode of 2, 30-minute episodes. Like, it's crazy. So, I mean, I don't even really want a second season because I feel like there's no way you can match this. Like, it felt like this was like that lightning in a bottle. Like, this shit struck in, I don't know, June, July, whenever. I watched it on a fucking whim and sat through the whole thing. And not quite one sitting. I think I watched like 4 or 5 episodes at night, went to sleep, and then watched the rest when I woke up. Something like that. But like, this was a moment. Like when it landed, I watched it. I said, oh my God, what the fuck? This was incredible. And then I get to watch it just grow and grow in popularity, grow in respect. And now it's on everybody's fucking list. And it's so rewarding for something like this to come out of nowhere, be this good, be this strong, be this incredible, and have everybody accept it. And it's not one of those things where I gotta sit here and be like, yo, y'all gotta watch The Bear. Trust me, believe me, I promise. It's good. I swear. Like, I don't have to convince anybody because everybody who watches this respects how fucking good this show is and how well done it is. And I'm gonna use this to segue into my best episodes portion of the show because I want to talk about this finale. This finale on this show is one of my best episodes of the year. It's, again, the culmination of all the work that was put in to building up to this episode. I think it was the 7th episode. I think it was only 7. I think I said 8 earlier. But, it starts off with a couple of scenes, but once it hits, I think, the kitchen, it's a one-shot, no cuts from that point on. And you just got this maximum intensity and drama, and you feel like you're in this tight kitchen, this tight space with these people, and there's just all of this tension and drama, and it's so suffocating, and you feel that, and they put you in that. It's just it's perfect, man. And like, you don't get to say that very often, that something is perfect, but like, I do not see flaws in the execution of this show. And like I said, I almost don't want a second season because I'm just like, I don't want them to potentially insert a flaw into this diamond. Like this, like, to me, this is like that perfect moment in time where like this perfect show dropped out of nowhere. It was incredible. It took the world by storm. We all loved it, and that was it. As opposed to everything that I just said, and then they dropped the second season and it was whack. like I don't think it's gonna be whack, but I'm just saying, like, there's no potential for that if you don't have a second season. You just have this great moment in time that we can all respect and love and cherish, and now you don't have the potential to sully that. But I don't know. I hope they don't. Let me check out some of these comments. Let's see. All right, here we go. Andy Serkis. Yep. We talked about Andy Serkis. I forgot about Industry. I did enjoy that one. The Industry get a lot better in season 2. Yeah, I watched about half of season 1. I just thought it was kind of run of the mill. Yes, you stopped at the worst time, Axel. Yes, I would say around episode 4 or 5 of season 1. There's a scene where I'm like, all right, I kind of get where this is. I'm kind of fucking with this now. And by the time it got to the end of the season, I was like, yeah, I like this show. Season 2 is a lot better than season 1. Industry, huge surprise. Season 2 really carried through. Awesome. Yup. Everything you say about Industry is true. Thanks for putting me on the Industry. My family loves me for it. Oh, you're welcome. Glad I can make Thanksgiving less awkward. Like a British Billions, I've heard. Okay. Yeah. Character Study is my fave. Yes, The Bear was perfect. My favorite show of the year. Looking forward to the next season. Bear was such a surprise. Yup, I gave it a shot and didn't get up until it was over. It's crazy engrossing with a surprisingly uplifting ending. It made a great opening for season 2. Love The Bear. It's perfect. John Bernthal again. Yup, when I said he had a great year. Just his brief time on that was great. I love the friendship between Sydney and Carmen. Yup. Marcus is a gem. Y'all saw, I'm still upset about the fucking donut. I really am. I don't think they marketed the bear correctly, and I almost passed on it, but it really is great. Yeah, it thrived on word of mouth. Yeah, they did. It wasn't something that people were really checking for, but it was just so high quality that you got motherfuckers like me everywhere telling people to watch it. And yeah, it took off after that. But yeah, it relied heavily on word of mouth. And Bernthal was perfect again. Yup. I love Bernthal, so seeing him at the end was a cherry on top. I hope there's not people watching this who haven't seen The Bear and are like, oh shit, John Bernthal's in it? Because now you're going to be looking for him. Whereas like if you don't know he's in it, when he shows up, it's like, oh shit. Now we might have ruined that for you guys if you haven't seen it. Did you catch Molly Ringwald in The Bear? Molly Ringwald? In The Bear? I don't think so. I caught Molly Ringwald in something recently, though. Like, I can't remember what it was. Like, but I don't think it was The Bear. I did see Molly Ringwald in something, though. Let's see. Connery was trying, man. He tried. I felt all the emotions watching The Bear. One sitting on a Saturday. Sucks because I'm afraid a second season won't compare to the first. Me too. But I love the actors keep their jobs. Me too. One sitting. Yup. Super quick episodes. Day premiered. I had no idea it was even premiering, but I finished it that day. Almost same. Yes, I thought that was Dahmer. Ringwald was in Connery's support meeting. Huh. Okay. No, I don't. I think I might have missed that. I don't know. So moving on to the best episodes section. So we're almost done. So like you guys who are still here, we're probably going to be up out of here in maybe like 30 minutes. So not much time left. I was like, this shit about to be like 3 hours long, but no, we're at an hour and a half and we've gone through the meat of it. So I imagine probably about 30 minutes left. So best episodes of the year. So I already talked about The Bear, the season finale of The Bear. Incredible episode. The one-shot intensity was great. Euphoria season 2 episode 5. This episode was kind of like this action-adventure episode. It opens up with this incredibly like moving but devastating and sad scene where Rue just tears into her mother and her sister, and it's so bad. And you're just like, this is how we're starting the episode. And it starts at this incredibly high level with this fight between Rue and her mother and her sister. And then she runs off, and then it becomes like this action-adventure chase episode. And it's just like post-pounding the whole time. So like, that was one of the most exciting episodes of the year. I was like, man, what a great episode this was. That episode stuck with me for so long. Better Call Saul has 2 entries on here. Episode 3, which was the episode that followed Nacho's character. I'm not going to talk anything about what happened in the episode, but that was a similar episode that was kind of like intense, nervous, post-pounding the whole time. You're just like, oh my God, what is going to happen? What is going to happen? And then it ends the way it ends. I thought that was one of the better episodes of the year. A lot of people don't talk about that episode of Better Call Saul. This other one, episode 12, isn't, like, if you look at a best episode list, that episode's in every list. But not a lot of people talk about episode 3, this episode about Nacho. But episode 12, we return to see Kim present day, I think for the first time in that episode. But it primarily features Gene breaking into this guy's house. The guy is played by a character from Big Bang Theory. But yeah, that scene, another post-pounding, intense, nervous scene. But that was a great episode. Those are the best 2 episodes of Better Call Saul, in my opinion. I already talked about Barry, season 3, episode 6, which is the one that had the chase scene that I mentioned when I talked about Barry. He's on like this scooter, and he goes on the freeway. The episode is called 701N, which I believe is 701 North, which is the freeway that he gets on in the episode. And he gets on the freeway on this like scooter. And I'm not gonna tell you. Like, if you want to see it, go see it. Like, Google it. You'll be able to find it. Watch that scene, and you will then understand why that episode is in my top episode. And there's other shit in that episode too, but like that chase scene is what really stands out. So like Google that and see if you can watch that chase scene. It's crazy. And then look at also, I don't remember which episode it was, and I can't recommend it because I can't remember which episode it is in season 2. And then if I describe it, it ruins the experience. But there's an episode in season 2 that's like really good as well. Reservation Dogs episode 4 of season 2. So this was the one I was talking about where I felt like I was seeing a ritual I hadn't seen before. This episode revolves around the funeral of the grandmother of one of the characters on the show. And I mean, I I've never seen. I don't understand how this show. It almost puts the mysticism like through the screen. Like you can almost feel like the hauntingness emanating off of your screen. Like I said, it feels like you're there at this funeral and watching this ritual that these people are doing for this woman as she transitions into the afterlife. And it's so beautiful. It's so haunting. It's so emotional. And I loved that episode. And that was the episode where I think after the next one, I can't remember who it was about, but it was about another kid. It focused on one of the kids, and it was a great episode. And that's when I was like, okay, wait, I feel like every episode is now going to be kind of like singularly focused, almost kind of like a anthology episode about one of these kids, and that they'll probably kind of like wrap up the season as a whole in the finale, which is what they did. But yeah, that funeral episode was incredible, man. Like, I was blown away. Like, I feel like if you look at the Facebook page, I probably did like a live commenting thing while I was watching it. That might have been on my personal page, actually. But yeah, I love that episode. That was a great episode. So I mentioned The Sandman in my honorable mentions. And I said that it's in my honorable mentions because I'm like, you get 2 of my top episodes, you kind of belong there. And Sandman episodes 5 and 6 were 2 of the best episodes of television I saw this year. Episode 5 takes place in a diner, and so the problem here is I can't explain the episode to you because in explaining why it's good, I'm explaining why it's good. Like, I'm robbing you of the experience of it. Like, talking about the Barry episode with the chase scene, I'm not robbing you of experiencing the chase scene. I'm just telling you, like, oh, there's a dope chase scene where he's on, like, this scooter and it's crazy. Like, you could watch that and you could have that experience. I could tell you, oh, the bear, like, most of the episode was one shot with no cuts. You can then watch that and have that experience. If I explain to you these 2 episodes of The Sandman, it ruins the experience. So, like, here's the cool thing. You don't necessarily have to have watched the other ones to watch these 2. Like, I feel like you could watch these 2 episodes and enjoy them without having watched the previous 4. I think really all you need to know is the concept, which essentially is the Sandman. He's like this. He's really fucking powerful. Not just like, I'm thinking this is a motherfucker that come to you while you sleep. He got all sorts of powers, but I don't know. I can't even really explain. It's hard to explain the show because it's kind of like an anthology show to a degree. Like, it has the same character in it, but like he gets into these like different adventures in every episode. And the episode 5, I don't even think he's in it. Like, the whole episode takes place in a diner, and that's it. Like, it doesn't have any other scenes outside of that. Like, the whole episode is in a diner, and it's really fucking good. I can't explain it without ruining the experience. And then episode 6 involves the Sandman having an experience like spending the day with his sister, but his sister is deaf. So he walks around, he follows her, and they're having conversations, but she's doing her job, which is bringing death to various people at their time of death. And the way they do it is so cool, and it's sad too. Like, it's a very emotional episode, but like the way they portray this death character bringing death to these people, I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's really fucking cool and it adds to the experience. So I thought those episodes were really fucking creative, really interesting, and I think you can watch them without having watched the rest. So I would encourage you to watch episodes 5 and 6. I thought they were really good. I already talked about the finale of Severance. That's another one of my favorite episodes of television this year. They nailed it. They set up a lot of interesting shit throughout those first 6 episodes. Set up a lot of questions. Set up a lot of things going into the finale and going into the second season. And they answered a lot of questions. They had a whole lot of compelling shit happen. Edge of your seat kind of stuff going on that, again, I can't explain to you without ruining it. And it was a perfect finale. Like, it gave you everything you needed to wrap up season 1. It set up season 2 really well. And it was incredibly fucking satisfactory. And it was a great finish to a show that, like I explained about the show, it's a weird fucking show. And they play with that dynamic of not having any knowledge of your non-work life when you're at work and vice versa. they play with that so well throughout the entire season in ways that you probably wouldn't even think of if you haven't seen it. And then that finale, they no, I'm not gonna say it, but like they really nail it in the finale. That's all I can say, but it was great. It was great. Fleischman is in Trouble, episode 6. This is the episode where, well, briefly about the show, like I mentioned when I talk about the honorable mention, it's about relationships, and Jesse Eisenberg plays his character named Toby. Claire Danes plays his wife Rachel, and up to this point being this episode 6, in the previous 5 episodes, we've seen a story where Toby is essentially dealing with the divorce from his wife. She comes, drops their kids off randomly in the middle of the night, takes off, disappears, not answering calls, nothing. She looks like she abandoned her kids. And we see this story that kind of like builds up to these moments of like how their marriage started to fall apart. And basically, the first 5 episodes tells the story of how shitty Rachel is and how great Toby is at his job and how screwed he is by how Rachel is treating him, and it paints Toby as a victim. And the whole time I'm saying, like, I feel like when we see Rachel, we're gonna feel a little bit differently. And episode 6 is the Rachel episode, and it's not just we see Rachel's perspective, it's Claire Danes' performance in this episode is just off the charts, man. Like, and it does such a good job of putting you in a position where you could take the side of either character, and I don't think you'd be wrong. Like, I wouldn't challenge you. Like, if after episode 6 you're team Rachel, I'd be like, I get that. And if you watch episode 6 and you're like, yo, it's still fuck Rachel all day, team Toby, I get that too. So like, it's just a great episode. I think it worked. It was properly placed in the season. It was, like I said, we got 5 episodes of telling the Toby version of things. We get this Rachel version in episode 6, and we get the finale. I thought it was well placed. And yeah, Claire Danes crushed it. And then that's it. So my last portion of the video, I was wrong when I said 30 more minutes, more like 10 more minutes. I want to talk about FX. So that's the network that I said that has been impressive to me as of late. And I put this list of some of the shows that FX has put out. And the reason why I really fuck with FX, like FX is like my number 2 behind HBO, because FX gives motherfuckers the opportunity to be creative. And it gives you, if you're an auteur and you have a vision and you want to do something that's maybe a little risky, that maybe it'll work, maybe it won't, FX will give you that chance. And you might watch something on FX and you're like, yeah, it wasn't all that. But you will get high fucking reward with a network that is willing to give artists the chance to be great and to be creative and to be who they are. And FX has done that. Like Atlanta. Look at the opportunity. Look at what they allowed Donald Glover to do with that show. Like, that show has done all sorts of shit that no other fucking show does. FX gave Donald, like, it feels like FX respects creators, respects artists, and doesn't like look over their shoulder. They're just like, oh, you want to make a show? Here's the money. Do what you want to do. Let us know when it's done. Peace. That's how it feels like FX does. It gives these creators this power and empowers them to do what they want, and you get some really high reward. Like I said, Atlanta, Dave, Devs from I think 2020. Devs was great. Reservation Dogs, that's like a FX Hulu. Legion, completely like, you know, at a time when every fucking superhero thing was exactly the same. FX says, here's Legion in the X-Men universe. And what the fuck is this? Like it's like Salvador Dali does X-Men. like, what the fuck is this show? The Bear, obviously. What We Do in the Shadows, which I haven't actually seen, but I know people love it. Fargo, The Patient, when we talked about earlier, Under the Banner of Heaven, Fleischman, like even Kindred, like, which I didn't like, but like I said, they give people this opportunity to make great work, and it puts me in a position to where now, heading into 2023, I'm looking at Hulu way more than I used to, because I'm looking like, okay, what is FX giving Hulu? What am I getting out of FX? If FX is giving me something, I'm probably gonna fuck with it, because I at least know worst case scenario is gonna be something creative that I'm probably not gonna be that into. That's the worst case scenario. The worst case scenario isn't this shit sucks. The worst case scenario is like, it didn't really work for me. And then best case scenario is something that's like one of the best things I've ever seen, like The Bear. And you know, you got, I'm gonna say, like, so The Bear, Reservation Dogs, Under the Banner of Heaven. So FX appears 3 times in my top 10. HBO, Industry, Euphoria, Barry. So HBO appears 3 times. There's Disney, AMC, Apple. So yeah, but yeah, all I had to say, FX is gonna be the shit. So I'm in 2023, I'm gonna be giving them all of the attention in 2023. So I'm gonna wrap up. This has been fun. I'm gonna read the last few of these comments, and then I'm gonna hopefully be able to download this video and put graphics in it and all that kind of shit before it ends up on the feed. And you guys don't have to see me like getting ready and shit at the beginning when there was one person on. Let's see. So, how far up am I? Why are we talking about Courtney B. Vance? How did that come up? I thought that was Dahmer. Oh, Courtney B. Vance was in Dahmer. Yes, yeah. Wait, was he? Yeah, I think so. You should watch 61st Street on AMC Plus, starring Courtney B. Vance. There we go. No, Courtney B. Vance was in that OJ one. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, my AMC Plus subscription, they gave me like a free month. Like, I thought I was only going to get a free week. So I got it right before I was like, I'm going to watch Interview with the Vampire and I'm going to cancel it. So I did. And I go in there and it's like, you got it till January 31st. I'm like, oh, okay. So that's how I ended up watching the Mayfair Witches. So maybe I can check out the 61st Street. Like, I watched Gangs of London too, but I was watching it elsewhere. The end of that Barry episode, Car Dealership, Love, 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 Reservation Dogs, Funeral episode, as do all of them, had all the feels. Yup, the funeral episode. Coming out of this, I need to finish Res Dogs in 1883. You absolutely fucking do. Which show were you guys first introduced to Mike? First introduced to Mike. I feel like, without even reading responses, I feel like Dave is a show where that gave me like extra subscribers. Like, Dave did really well for me. But I feel like Mayor of Easttown, there's been a lot of people around since Mayor of Easttown. And I think Yellow Jackets, a lot of people have kind of been around since Yellow Jackets. But Mayor of Easttown is where I feel like I started seeing people fairly consistently. Mine was Gomorrah. Okay. Yeah, Gomorrah's another one. I finished it, but I haven't finished the fucking video coverage of it. Like, I think I still got to do like the last 3 episodes, I think. And I feel the same way as I do with Tokyo Vice. Like, I still got the notes, but I need to just watch them again because I'm like, the notes are so detached from when I watched it. But yeah, Gomorrah, that's my shit. Where was I? Oh, those 2 Sandman episodes are classics of the comic that were nailed on the show. Okay, there we go. Listen to the Sandman on Audible. Show follows pretty good. I might have tried Industry due to Mike. Yeah, like Industry season 2 is the shit. It's one of the best shows ever made, in my opinion. If you like gangster genre, it's one of the best ever, no question. He never completed the reviews for it. Fuck out of here, Omar. I know I didn't complete the fucking reviews. Give me a break. But I did finish it. But yeah, I love Gomorrah. Oh wow, I was just searching for the Barry motorcycle chase scene. Based off of this clip, the show is worth watching. Yup. Would you put in the same wheelhouse as Power? Omar. I hate saying this. The Rachel episode is number 7. Is it? What did I say? Did I say it was 6? I did say it was 6. You're right, it is 7. Claire Danes' ugly cry is Emmy-worthy. Yep. The screaming and the beef lo mein. Yep. Man, she had me at Broke Down Palace with the ugly cry. Yep. Yes and no, Sierra. There's more violence in Gomorrah, and it's in subtitles, but there's just as many seasons. I think like 6. There's 5. But it's phenomenal. Highly recommend. The Americans. Oh, yeah, that was another one that I didn't mention. The Americans was on FX. I was so young when it came out. I didn't pay much attention to the soundtrack. I have to take a listen. Thanks, Omar. Sure, we'll give it a try. Cool. Oh, and Damages with Gun Close was FX too. That I'm not aware of. Damages on FX. I'm not aware of that one. And then I started following with Yellow Jackets. So yeah, I feel like Mayor of Easttown and Yellow Jackets was where people kind of hopped on. So like I said, wrapping up. This is gonna be out, like I said, whenever I figure out if I can make some edits first. Either way, it's either going up right now automatically, or I'm gonna make some edits to it. I'm just gonna throw on the Chiron, and that'll probably be it. So if it's not up automatically, it'll be up, I don't know, hour, something like that. I got, let's see, like I said, I got a lot of stuff coming for the Patreon. I got Mayfair Witches I'm going to be covering. I just put that out. Well, I'm not saying I'm going to be covering it, but I did just put that out. I'm waiting for the episode to air so I can see how the video does. So the episode doesn't air until tomorrow night. So I'm looking at next week to see how the video performs. If it performs well, I'll probably cover the whole season, but we'll see. And then 15th, The Last of Us and Mayor of Kingstown Season 2. And I think that's kind of it. I think there's some other stuff later in January. Like there's something called, I think, White House Plum. No, White House Plums is March. What's it called? The show Jason Segel and Harrison Ford on Apple TV. That comes out at the end of the year. I'll check that out. Again, no promises on coverage, but I'll be checking that out. So that's all I got. I will see you guys whenever I see you guys. Till then, peace.